stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite anybody for public comment tonight, but I don't see anybody for public comment. So I will, why do I feel like I'm echoing today? Any recognitions?
I would like to thank, it is loud. State Senator Karen Spilka, State Rep James Arena DeRosa, our MSBA Representative Mary Pichetti, the ESBC2 Chair John Graziano, Select Board Chair Joe Clark, and Superintendent Bishop for the lovely groundbreaking ceremony at Charleswood on Tuesday. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
We all had a good time.
Sure did.
Great. Anything else? All right, Ella, you are up.
Yay. I'm going to start with an athletics update. Teams still in the playoffs include girls soccer, who's anticipating a game on Wellesley. And then also girls field hockey with an impressive shootout yesterday and will continue in the playoffs. Unified basketball actually has a tournament tonight. Probably where Ryan is. Other announcements. PD Day was really successful for student volunteers. As NHS president, I helped organize students who guided teachers to workshops and captured photos as part of National Art Honor Society. 58 RAD students took on the ropes courses at Boundless Adventures recently. First semester students will have their RAD simulation in the third week of November. RAD stands for Rape, Aggression, Defense, taught by Miss Millette, and it empowers students, especially females, with self-defense skills. As one of her past students, I found it incredibly impactful in preparing for college campus safety. RAD is offered to juniors and seniors, and just a little shout out because I think it's really cool. Red Cross Club is facilitating a blood drive in the Athletic Center on November 8th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Donations can save up to 3 lives. Incentives include a $10 gift card upon donation and a chance to win a $5,000 gift card. Drama Department is having a production of The Drowsy Chaperone on November 20th from 4 to 6, November 21st from 7 to 9, and November 22nd from 7 to 9. And then also, another shout out, November 24th is the annual girls football game. I'll be participating. We appreciate all the support for fundraising, and if you're interested, tickets will be sold by players such as myself a week before the game.
Wonderful,
That's
thank
all.
you. And you did not mention that you gave the keynote at Above Midday.
Yeah, that was
Which
pretty
I
cool.
heard was amazing.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, financial report, Mrs. Malkovich.
Thank you. I'm seeing if it will connect.
Very quiet, huh?
Oh, wait, we're waiting for the financial report to come up on the screen.
I'm connecting.
Oh, Apple TV? Okay.
You're trying to make your entrance more dramatic.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It says I'm on.
There'd be a little more fanfare.
Not.
They're on Apple TV. Okay.
There it is.
Very nice.
Okay. So, the financial report at this time, right now, we are running a small positive variance. It's early in the year, so this is not unusual to see where we are at this time. Page 2 outlines the one position that has been added at the time that we did this. There has been a second paraprofessional added at
Just
Marathon,
last.
which was after this report was prepared. The next page is an outline of our revolving accounts to show where we are. The one account that I want to draw your attention to is the international tuition revolving. Using the full projection of what we would utilize as the offset of $450,000. At this time, we're early in the year, of course, so we don't have a lot in terms of receipts. But you can see that that account does show a deficit. So this is an account we'll keep an eye on, and if there are savings in other accounts, we'll look to use less of this. It's also an account when we get to the FY27 budget, you'll see that we're gonna reduce what the offset is. So this one we have increased aggressively to balance the budget, and this is not new. It was a warning that this was going to happen. And then on the next page are the capital projects. You can see that everything is in progress. The two that are on hold are the HVAC articles. We had put them on hold until the results of the ESCO so that we knew we were moving forward with a thoughtful plan. One thing for the committee to think about, while we're not putting the ESCO project before the community until 2028, is utilizing this money toward the design for the high school. So that does enable, obviously, the amount of the design would come off the cost of what we would ask for in '28, but it also would enable, one of the things they talked about was the Green Communities Competitive Grant, which has to be a full design they could apply for in the fall if we move forward with this, and that's about $500,000. So it would cover about half the cost of the design. So while this is not something to vote on tonight, this is just a report, something for the committee to have in their mind, and we could vote at a later time.
Great, thank you.
Are there
What's
any
ESCO again?
questions? Energy savings.
That's the HVAC stuff that?
Yes.
Okay,
For high
got it.
school, middle school.
All right. Got it.
I have a question. Would using that money as a, like, using it towards the design, would that be something that we would be at risk of, like, using for a different purpose than had been approved under capital projects, or is that considered like a?
It's still the HVAC.
Okay.
So it's moving forward what you would do with HVAC.
Okay.
So you would, no matter what, even if you were to do it in kind, you would have to engineer that replacement. So it is all allowable.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're going to move on to the superintendent's report.
Excellent, all right. Just have it go up on the screen. There it is. All right, good evening, everyone. This is the superintendent's report for November 6th. Although it's only been a week since our last meeting, we've had two really significant events that have happened in the district. Events that speak to who we are as a community and where we're heading. So I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight and celebrate both of those. Earlier this week, we gathered as a community to officially break ground on the new Charles Wood Elementary School, and despite some windy conditions, I thought we had a pretty good turnout, which included students, educators, town leaders, families, and some construction partners that joined us, all of which have had a hand in getting us to this point. In addition to school committee member Jamie Ronka, we also had Select Board Chair Joe Clark, ESBC2 Building Committee Chair John Graziano, MSBA Executive Director Mary Piketty, Representative James Arena DeRosa, and Senate President Karen Spilka said a few words about the project and about our community. It was really nice to feel the sense of pride and shared ownership from the community on this project this day. But also not only this day, but throughout the course of many years as this project has been in the works. And this picture here shows the moment that we broke ground. So it was a very exciting day. Also earlier this week, we held our district-wide professional development day with a new Learning for Everyone motto. That logo up on the screen was developed by 11th grader London Williams, which is pretty cool. This was our first large-scale pre-K to 12 kind of workshop-style voice and choice approach to PD in Hopkinton. It reflected the strong culture and collaboration and continuous growth that we're committed to. I want to thank Mr. LeBrod for all of his work behind the scenes in making this day go off without a hitch. I thought it was one of the better PD days that I have been a part of in my time here. The early feedback we've been getting from staff has also been very positive. So we're looking forward to building on this model moving forward. This next slide highlights the scale of the collaboration. We had 45 HPS-run workshops with almost 60 staff presenters and 13 outside partners who presented. We had 3 50-minute sessions throughout the morning with topics ranging from culturally responsive practices, supporting struggling learners, leadership, MTSS, AI, math and science anxiety, mental health supports, student identity development, and so much more. And in our afternoon session, we brought everyone back together to the middle school auditorium and had a discussion around AI and education led by guest speaker Greg Schwambach, and he was excellent. Next, I'd like to just take a moment and recognize and thank those educators across the district who volunteered to lead a session. Their names are listed here on the slide. We had representatives from every building and central office represented, which is cool. I'm very appreciative of their willingness to step up and share their passions and ideas and strategies for their colleagues. It takes a lot of preparation and vulnerability and confidence and readiness to lead, and our staff modeled it that day, which we were proud of. This next slide is just a few images from the day. Top left is 4th grade ELA CTL at Hopkins Tracy Dobbin teaching a Canva 101 session. On the bottom left is Mr. Eric Mitchell, assistant principal at Marathon, running a session titled We Have a Circle for That. In the middle are Marathon teachers Christine Gadsden and Katie Jensen, who ran a breakout EDU session. On the top right is science teacher at the high school, Marjorie Billiter, talking about making community connections. And on the bottom right is a photo of Mr. Ghosh running an AI session in the library. But the highlight of the day, I think for many, was hearing from one of our students, Elder Snyder, our school committee rep. She opened the day as our student keynote speaker. She was amazing. She provided a powerful reminder that professional development isn't just about new strategies or new tools. It's about ensuring that every student feels known, supported, and inspired in our schools. She did an amazing job and brought many staff to tears, so thank you.
Thank you.
Tears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot, yeah. And for this week's Top of the Hill Spotlight, we are recognizing the cast and crew of the upcoming Hopkinton High School musical, The Drowsy Chaperone. Each year, our drama program brings together students from all grades, actors, musicians, technicians, and stage crew members who pour countless hours into building something creative, joyful, and inspiring for our community. So at this time, I'd like to invite up some of our cast and crew to come up and share a little bit about the musical, the dates and times, and what the experience has been like.
Hello, thank you for letting us be here. We wanted to just let everyone know a bit about our current show. The Drowsy Chaperone is actually a show within a show brought to life. It has a lot of music, comedy, and a lot of marriage.
You can come and see the show and join the man on his musical journey through the record on November 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. You can find links to buy tickets either on the Hillers student email section or on the Hillers Instagram at Hillers Theater, I believe. We have the pit and the crew here as well.
So for those of you who don't know what Pit Orchestra is, it's a music ensemble, and we play the entire soundtrack of the show live. It helps, the atmosphere of the show really come alive. And we spend Mondays after school going over every song together. We've been putting in a lot of work learning all this music. It's certainly not easy, but the music is very fun to play, and it's a super fun show, so I really hope that you come and join us. We also have the hard work of the crew behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think Tanya is severely understating how much work they put in. This is a very difficult score. There are about 20 student musicians, which is very impressive. A lot of the time, these pit orchestras are predominantly professional musicians. We have a couple of those coming in, but the students are putting in so much work. One of my jobs is to help them really come to life. I am the sound designer. So along with miking all of the actors, sound effects and everything, I'm also making sure they sound great, making sure everything's balanced. The other thing I wanted to touch on is I'm also in charge of set construction. So the way this show is working, everything is coming to life inside the person in chair's apartment. So the stage is set up to look like the inside of the apartment, and then all of the characters come to life and dance around the person's apartment. It's a very, very interesting show.
So I'm the stage manager for the production, and so my job is basically to ensure everything runs smoothly and to make sure all the pieces are fitting together so that we're ready for our opening night. And the only thing I can say about the show is that you really can't understand it until you see it, literally and figuratively. It's been so amazing going to nearly every single rehearsal, and it's really just a sight to behold. So I hope every single one of you will be there.
Thank you so much.
Great, thanks.
Thank you guys for having us, letting us promote ourselves.
Appreciate it. And thank you to Ms. Sullivan, your teacher, for coming out as well. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Great. All right. so into it, I lost my agenda. Very exciting. All right, school committee report. Warrants number 26051S, number 26052S, 26053S, 26054S have been approved, and they're included in your folder. One other note, they got back to us about the superintendent evaluation workshop. They're not able to do the Tuesday and Wednesday. They're wondering if we were available Monday the 5th or Thursday the 8th for a workshop.
This is January.
What month
This
is
is
this?
January. The 8th is a school committee meeting date.
I'm
what-
fine with either, whatever's easiest for you guys.
What time?
I was thinking we do it evening, like a school committee meeting.
Oh, okay, so then we should probably do, oh, wait.
Whether we could, we probably have budget things on that we probably could not go without our 8 o'clock meeting.
What date is it? January?
January 8th or 7 o'clock meeting.
That's our
You know
first
how
meeting.
long it is?
I think it's a couple of hours.
Okay,
She
so we-
wasn't very clear, so I don't think we could do one and then the other.
That's what I, yeah.
One of us would be here all night.
What was that time?
What was the time again? Sorry?
The evening, she wasn't clear on a time. I think we can kind of set the time.
So it sounds like Monday's better.
And would there be a
The
remote
8th is your
option?
school committee meeting.
What we
The
need.
8th is your school committee
Yes,
meeting.
Is there a remote option? I'm just thinking it might be for Susan.
I can ask that.
Is there that January 8th school committee meeting, is there a lot, I know, we might not know what's on that agenda, but is that a busy night or?
It would be the budget.
Probably, yeah.
Public hearing for the budget?
Presentation.
Yeah,
Well,
that's probably
We don't
not.
often get a huge crowd, but when we do, we really do.
Yes. We could. Is the 5th sound acceptable then?
It's fine for me.
Okay. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I just,
All right. I will get back to her then. All right, moving on, liaison reports.
Nothing since last week.
nothing.
Great.
last week.
Wonderful. We're moving on. Mr. LeBron, MCAS presentation.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I am so pleased to be able to walk you through tonight an overview of our spring 2025 MCAS results. This is a rite of passage for us each and every fall to look back on what we have learned from the score results and reports from our students' performance in the spring, what it tells us about what we're doing well, and what it tells us about where we have room to look under the hood and be able to grow. So typically, I would wrap up my presentation, don't get fooled, this isn't the end, with some gratitude. But tonight, what I'd like to do is really start with gratitude and go through the people that that are behind some of the numbers and charts and graphs that we're going to look at tonight. So first and foremost, to our students, our hardworking students who push really hard, and their teachers report it all the time. Our kids are doers, and they do everything that they can do to achieve and to achieve at high levels. And they do that with the support of their teachers. We have an incredibly gifted and talented group of educators across our district, teachers, counselors, interventionists, therapists, everything in between. And of course, those students benefit from the support of their families, who believe in the power of their education and what they can do when they achieve. The principals and assistant principals at each of our buildings, along with all of our administrators, who make sure that our teachers and our students have everything that they need to achieve and excel. Our curriculum and instruction leaders, and in particular those who really helped me put together a lot of the data points tonight that I'm able to share with you. Our literacy team of Julie Mattson, Sherry Kent, Dan Collins, and Sarah Ellum. Sarah, of course, is now an assistant principal at the high school, but still can be found traipsing around some ELA data. And then our math team, Shelley Moran, Carla Christopoli, and Kathy Anasaskis. So in addition to those above, special thanks to those friends for helping us out tonight. So the headlines are very similar to what I was able to tell you last year, and that is a really good thing. The first one is that when you look at our data tonight, or if you've already studied it, you'll find that most grade levels have returned to pre-COVID performance levels, and that most students and subgroups have maintained or have improved their performance over the prior year. In addition to that, most students and subgroups continue to outperform statewide scores in both achievement and growth, and all of our schools and the district are meeting or exceeding the measurable targets set by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. All of our grade levels also rank high in each subject when compared to districts across Massachusetts, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. And I know that earlier this year, Mr. Bishop was able to share with you that Hopkinton was recognized as one of 63 districts whose grade 3 to 8 collaborative math scores have returned to or surpassed pre-pandemic levels. And in addition to that, Hopkinton had the highest percentage of students meeting or exceeding expectations in math across grades 3 to 8 of any public school district in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So what does this look like in context? I show you something that looks like this every year, and it's really important to me that I'm able to frame for you that the MCAS is one piece of the puzzle when we look at our students. It gets a lot of attention because it's the only tool that is used across every public and charter school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but it is only one piece of it. In addition to that, we have benchmark assessments, we use progress monitoring, we have informal and ongoing assessments and locally developed assessments, all which help us understand our learners, what they need, and how we can best support them. So the MCAS is tested in grades 3 to 8 and again in grade 10 in both ELA and math. Students in grades 5, 8, and 10 also take a science, technology, engineering assessment, and students in grade 8 take a civics assessment. The civics assessment was implemented for the first time completely across the state this past spring. There was a field test the year prior and then a pilot with a selected number of districts. The year before that, Hopkinton was one of the districts that was part of that initial pilot 3 years ago. The MCAS scores are used in large part to help determine what the accountability rating is of the district. This is used in addition to attendance data and a few other metrics. In Hopkinton, yet again this year, we were identified as a district not requiring any assistance or intervention, and we were meeting or exceeding all targets identified by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So let's take a look at what some of the results were. And I am promising you that I'm not going to go through every single score because every single score is available in the public domain on the department's website. But I will give you together what our percentage of students meeting or exceeding in each of the subjects at each of the grade levels was this year. It's hard to compare because when we look at from grade to grade, cohort to cohort, there's not a lot of context there. But what we will see in a minute is where we compare against other districts in the state. What you can also see is by the finish line of 10th grade, 84, 80, 80% of our students are meeting or exceeding.
Is that typical in high-performing schools throughout the state, that it goes from 65 percentile up to 84-ish when you get to 10th grade? You know, the other, say, top 10 schools?
Yeah, if I were to look, and I don't have that data in front of me, I will say that our grade 3 scores are lower than they have been, and that's something that we're looking at. So, and our grade 10 scores hit, I think, probably a high last year, around 89 or 90%, which is not, if I can be blunt, is not normal. It's an amazing thing. So seeing an 84, 80, 80 is spectacular. I think a lot of districts, not all, but a lot, probably hover more closer to the same thing from grades 3 to 10. The fact that we see a climb up the ladder is, I think, one of the things that makes Hopkinton and the Hopkinton Public Schools a unique and special place for teaching and learning.
And I think I probably said the same thing, maybe not last year, but the year before. But I know that these are great looking at kind of the broader context, but when you look at the numbers and say 84% are meeting or exceeding ELA, 80 meeting or exceeding math and science and technology, that to me, I look at the reverse and I say, that means 20% or not.
It absolutely does mean that.
16%
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
is surprising to me, just because we are a high-performing district, and I know that we rate well against other districts, and I guess just a curiosity to me why that would be statewide even lower than that.
And the sad reality and why we get so many, not we, but why the state has so many headlines around MCAS is because that number is drastically lower. The state average is right around the 50% mark, and there are a lot of communities that are looking at 40% meeting or exceeding. So when there is hype around the scores in the state of our of our educational program, there are communities that are facing that challenge right now. And at the same time, one of the things that I'm so impressed by the teachers and the leaders in this district is, Nancy, to your point, when we see 84, usually one of the first questions is, well, what about the 16? And that's the conversation. We don't spend much time talking about how great these are, but we look at the balance that gets us to 100 and think, how can we get there? And what are we not doing? Or what do we not have that's keeping us from that
I
point?
know we've spent some time talking about the 10th grade MCAS and that, you know, the retakes, what does that look like when they retake it? Previously, you know, before, when the MCAS was still a
Yeah.
graduation requirement, those numbers then go up, you know, the retakes go up to.
Right, I mean, if a student's taking it beyond that,
Yeah.
yes. I think you're making a good point about the reality that the MCAS no longer being a graduation requirement in the state. We have not seen a dramatic shift in our results. Some communities have. A further testament to our students who really want to do well, who really want to show what they know. If I can borrow a phrase from when I was a fourth grade teacher, trying to give an assessment, show what you know. And I think we still have a lot of, our students still want to do that. Yeah.
Of the 16% that don't meet or exceed, do we know, are there other buckets of close to exceeding
Yep.
or?
So there's partially meeting
yeah.
and not meeting. Most of our students are in partially, nearly none are in not.
So almost 100% of our students are partially or meeting or exceeding?
Yes.
Got it, okay.
In,
Across the math and across all the different?
Across every grade,
Okay,
across
got it.
every subject. Yep.
Okay, great.
do these numbers include like, is it a percentage of our entire 10th grade or a percentage of all the kids who, I know there's a small percentage that don't take MCAS. Is it?
This is the percentage of students who took the assessment.
Okay.
So let me show you where this stacks up across the state, to give a little bit of context. So in English language arts, grades 3 to 10, this is where we rank for students with our percent of students meeting or exceeding on the assessment. So in grade 3, we rank 16th. Grade 4, we go up to 7th and we stay 7th, 5th, and 6th. Grade 7, we're ranked number 10. Grade 8, we go up to number 3, and grade 10, we're ranked 7th. When we look at math, you can see scores that are even more impressive. I'd highlight grade 5, which is ranked number 1 in the state, tied with Brimfield, Massachusetts, in case you're keeping track. In 6th grade, we're second, and then when we cross the finish line at grade 10, we are ranked 7th in the state.
Sorry, the districts below the ranking is, what does that denote?
Yeah, so for instance, grade 5, we're ranked first of 2 districts, so there are 2 of us ranked number 1.
Oh, okay.
If you look at grade 4, we're ranked 5th, but there are 6 districts, which means there's probably at least 1 tie in there.
Okay, gotcha, okay. Thanks.
And again, grades 3 to 8 ranked number 1 across all public, non-charter school districts in Massachusetts, which is a really wonderful thing for us to be able to celebrate. It's also a great thing for us to be able to, I know I keep saying the phrase look under the hood, but we want to see, why are we getting that? What are we doing in our math instruction that we can transfer to other disciplines and domains and other grades as well? When we look at our science results, you can see again some pretty impressive standings. Grade 5, grade 8, and grade 10 all rank in the top 10 of performing districts in the state. And in civics, we are ranked number 3 in the state. We had nearly 80% of our students meet or exceed on the initial test, which was twice as many as what's the state average, which was right around 40%. So I always talk about achievement, but I really want to highlight student growth, because achievement is one thing, but how much we grow is the thing we have the power to control, influence, and move the needle on. So again, I showed you this graphic before, but I think it's important to point out, if we look at the top above that dotted line, you can see a student who's advanced, we might say on the MCAS exceeding expectations, can actually decline in their performance and achievement and still be considered advanced. A student who is not yet proficient may still not be proficient, but could make as much growth as the other student lost. And I think putting that in context is really important, and it goes back to the hard work of our teachers and our students who are working so hard to get our students everything that they need. Again, student growth percentile, a fairly complex model, but really the quick headline is if you see that a student is growing somewhere between 40 and 59%, we know that they're making typical or moderate growth. If they're 60 or above, that's great, that's high growth, and 39% or below, we consider that low growth. Again, this is a student being measured up against his, her, or their score-alike peers from one grade level to the next. So if we take a look at some of those scores, this here is our SGP, or student growth percentile breakdown for the spring 2025 assessment. So you can see in the third column, all students are categorized right there. When you move over to the next column, this is the SGP for one of our subgroups. This would be our English learners or former English learners. If you see a white field, that means we do not have a cohort large enough to measure that SGP. The next category, low income, students identified as low income, and then finally the far right category, abbreviated SWD, or students with disabilities. What our team and I are very pleased with seeing is that most of those scores hover around 50 or higher. And the SGP model says that 50 is something that you can hang your hat on and feel really good about. But I want to highlight a couple of things here because we can look at grades across, but I think it's really important to look at how students move from one grade to the next. Before we do that, I lied. I'd first like to show you this part, which I'm also very happy to see. You'll see a lot of leveling across here, and I've highlighted a few of these because what this shows us is something we haven't always seen, which is a growth percentile level or level-ish across our different subgroups. So for instance, and I'm going to start at the bottom, grade 10, all of our students, the average is a 51% student growth percentile. Students with disabilities are 5 points higher than that. That's huge. Sixth grade math, 59% for all students, 59% for students with disabilities. And it's not perfect because you can see there's a few grades where that's not the reality. And we are highlighting those as well, knowing that that's where we have some work to do. But again, going back to the student, this is what I wanted to show with you earlier. Our students with disabilities subgroup and looking at what the SGP looks like from grade to grade. So a lot of numbers there, but I want to highlight a few of them for you. I want to make that as messy as possible. But what I'm trying to illustrate is if you see students moving from 23 to 24 to 25, there's some highlights to look at. Our current 8th graders, for instance, our students with disabilities in 2023 were at 42%. That's climbed up to 51%. You can see that our students who were, I'm going to skip over one because it's an error, but our 4th to 5th graders in math moving from 48 to 64 in a single year. That's something that we can feel really good about. And staying consistent in a few other spots as well. But again, there are spots on there too that we have to look under the hood and realize we've got some work to do to make it right for every student. Now, in student growth, we also are ranked across the state. I won't show you all of the rankings, but 3 that we should feel really proud of. We had that high achievement, but growth is just as or more important. Grade 4, we are ranked number 10 in the state for our student growth from grade 3 to 4. Grade 5, 3rd in the state. And grade 10, 7th in the state in ELA. Those are really great numbers for us to see. But in Hopkinton, all means all, and we think about every student every single day. So we need to be able to use this information to enhance what we're doing so that every student can get what they need every single day. So what's that look like? In literacy, we're continuing with our professional development to make sure our teachers are armed with what they need to teach reading, to teach language, and to teach writing across the board. We're using benchmarking and progress monitoring. We're using curriculum-based measures this year to see what that looks like at the early grades, and we're continuing to use our STAR assessment all the way through the high school to see what that looks like. We're also just about ready to launch our elementary literacy task force, which will be looking carefully at what our elementary reading and writing program is and what it can be. In math, we continue to focus early on with fact fluency and math discourse. We're already seeing the impact of what that looks like, and leaning on what differentiated instruction can look like for our students within the classroom, along with continuous professional development. Our science and technology program at the elementary level continues to lean into our new science curriculum, Curious Science, where our students are moving from learning about science and what science topics are to actually getting their hands dirty, quite literally, and doing the science. We've got ongoing professional development for that, and across the board embedding disciplinary literacy, the act of reading and writing in the discipline of science and acting as scientists, as engineers, and as researchers in their work. In grade 8 civics, I wanted to draw again to our couple data points here. First of all, 80% of our students met or exceeded expectations, and that is huge. But only 1 in 4 of our students with disabilities met or exceeded. That's worthy of note, and we need to figure out what's going on there. This was the first time we received these scores with this breakdown, so it's the first chance we're going to have to study them and figure out what's going on there. And I've already showed this data point to our Director of Student Services and said, let's have a conversation. So we're looking forward to doing that. We do have an elementary civics curriculum, and it's entering its 3rd year, so we believe that that will lay an even stronger foundation for what students will engage in when they get to the middle level. And again, we're leaning into disciplinary literacy and focusing on constructed responses as students work to explain their thinking through written communication. And as we teach all of our students, you've heard us talk about these initiatives before, but I just want to remind you that we're putting a lot of emphasis on MTSS, or the multi-tiered system of support, to make sure that all students get what they need when they need it. We're using our learning support teams and our PLCs, or professional learning communities, to be able to do that. We're leaning on our data, and we're triangulating it. And I know I've talked about that. I talked about that at the outset, but not using just MCAS as what we're going to use to make a decision, but seeing how MCAS fits into that equation and how we can look at other data points to make sure that we have the full picture for our students. Because at the end of the day, we know that our students, our teachers, and our schools are so much more than the test scores that we have before them, but it doesn't mean we don't want to use them to make sure that we're making the best decisions for them each and every day.
That's great, thanks. How do you, I know you had an initial discussion with, on only the 25% of the kids with disabilities met or exceeded. How do you, that seems like from a macro level, there's a lot to that, right? Yeah.
So there's 2 things I want to do. The first of all is I want to compare it across the state, because if we are in line or exceeding the state, which I admittedly don't think we are, but if we were, that would be telling.
Right.
I also know, and this I am hesitant to say this on the record because I don't have facts to back it up, but I do know that when students with disabilities require intervention that needs to be pulled out, it's typically not from their elementary or secondary math or literacy classes. And there are only so many places from which to pull, so sometimes the pull can be out of social studies. So an early unscientific hypothesis that I want to examine more is that the reason?
Got it.
And is that a reality, or is there something that we can do to make some change there?
Got it. Lots of good news.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of good news
Lots
to
of
celebrate.
work on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We're moving on to budget transfer request.
So this transfer request comes as a result of all the contract negotiations that were settled in the spring. So for budget, we put estimates in the salary reserve, and once we know what those contracts are, that's what this budget transfer is, taking the money from the salary reserve and exploding it out to the lines that it belongs in. So each time you have big contract negotiations, you'll have these kinds of requests for a budget transfer.
I move to approve the budget transfer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have the IKFE competency determination policy.
Yep, kind of along the same lines with MCAS. So this is our second reading for approval of policy IKFE. This policy outlines the district's approach to meeting the state competency determination requirements for graduation that Mr. Pominville presented last week. The language in this updated policy reflects not only the current DESE guidance, but also aligns with districts across the state. So this policy has been shared with the community for feedback, and so unless there are any questions, the motion is to approve the revised policy IKFE.
I got motion to move to approve the IKFE competency determination policy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. And items by consent.
And I recommend that the school committee approve the items by consent as listed in your packet.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. And we're ending at 7:40.
Next meeting. So we'll be back on the November 20th.
We'll be